All right, all right. Testing. Can you guys hear me now? Good, good. So, before I go into today's stream, I got a couple of announcements follower wise. 5 days ago, wait, no, that's one I already mentioned. 4 days ago, we got followed by Onichiri, which should be popping up here. There it goes. A day ago, we got followed by Judge Jecht, popping up here. And then 19 hours ago, we got followed by Robin the Rogue. There we go. I'm not sure who Onichiri is. I don't recognize the name. But Judge Jecht and Robin the Rogue are people I've met through Masana, Epic Morgana, Jaziel, and Sarah, and Gersendai. Sorry about that. Yeah. So they're people that I've met through Final Fantasy XIV. And that is us caught up with new followers. Next big thing to announce as I move it up here in front of my face and make it bigger. We got our logo. The logo was made by a classy pug over on Twitter. I'm going to move it out of the way so that we can see my face again. Give me just a second to resize it and get it back into play. You know what? Let's just go back here and copy, paste, delete. Yes. There we go. There we go. There we go. So yeah, it definitely fits a little bit better for the daytime version of this. I think I'm going to ask Pug if she'd be willing to make a more nighttime version of it. But as far as the logo itself goes, I am very happy with it. It does clear up some confusions about my username. The a lot of people that I was going in and watching were very confused by the K as Zen T, so they didn't know what to call me. It's Kaizen. It's Kaizen. It says now down in the corner there. It doesn't say it in the gameplay aspect of it, but we're gonna go back to this one because this one's better on my eyes. Ah. Still trying to get over this cough. So let's see here. How are you doing, Echo? And Masana, I saw you in here earlier. If you're still around, how are you doing? Yeah, it was raining when I was at work today. It's not raining now, but I need to pull up this, make it a little bit smaller. Oh, that actually resizes that. Oh, I don't like that. Okay, go back to full screen. I did not know that resized that. Okay, that's fine. So today we're going to be doing a bit of chatting. Uh, as I've been playing with a few people, and more people have been coming up and talking to me, uh, there have been some questions that I've kind of had to give non committal answers to. So I figured that now is a good time to kind of talk about my past a little bit. Uh, I've kind of alluded to a few of these things, but uh, yeah, I just think it's best if I just go ahead and nip it in the butt, let everybody know, like, the journey that I've gone through over the past multiple years. So, first things first, we are going to pull back the veil just a little bit. We're going to swap this back to this. So, in order for me to really talk about this in any seriousness, I have to explain a couple of things first. So, for starters, I am a father of a now 8-year-old son who has autism. Uh, for the last, I'm going to say 4, 5 years, I've kind of been not around. There was situations that happened that I was not even in the same state for a very long time. Uh, we are now getting to a point where I am making a lot more efforts, a lot more attempts to get back into my son's life. And I believe that it is starting to pay off now. Uh, there's not a lot that I can do to kind of get around like the reasoning. I know that Twitch is not a big fan of a lot of the words that I would typically use. So I'm going to go not direct because I don't want to upset Twitch and their policies. I was in a very, very dark place in my life for about, about as long as I'd been away from my son's life, about 5, maybe 6 years. Um, Before that, I was working at a tool factory, making tools, of course. Lived with the wife, the newborn. Uh, at the time that things started to really get bad was he would have been he would have been 2 or 3 years old, and his mother and I ended up separating. Uh, there's really no way to point blame either way. I did things that I'm not proud of now. She did things that she's not proud of now. And we've just kind of both, we've grown and we've adapted. And we're still trying to make the best out of the whole situation. Uh, I was with her for because we're still married. We haven't filed any divorce papers or anything. So now we have been married for I'd say about 9 years. I think we were married a whole year before he was born, maybe a year and a half. Either way, 9, 10 years. And before that, we were dating for about 5. So now we kind of get into the questions that have been asked. Uh, it's well known, I've said it a couple of different times, that this, in the regards of Final Fantasy XIV, this is not my first account. This is a brand new account. I abandoned my old account, bought a whole new one, and start it over. And I've been asked why. And the only real answer I could give was because I had to. The fact of the matter is, I didn't have to, but it's the way that I had learned to cope with issues. Uh, this is going to kind of get into the history of Kaizen as a character and talk about uh, through these streams I've been playing as Gaitsu lore. It's going to go into the switch that happened from Gaitsu lore to Kaizen to now. When the X now and I split. Oh, hi, Classy. How we doing? Everyone, go give Classy a follow. Classy is the artist who made the model possible and the logo possible. Very, very, very happy with her work. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So back into it because I don't want to really drag all of this out a whole lot. uh, when the X and I split, I was not in the greatest place in the world. Uh, Up to that point, everything that I had done had been Gaitsu lore. That was the character that was in the creation process at the time, and it's overall who I felt like over the internet, and it was tied to my ex in a lot of ways. So when she and I split, I had changed my character over. It took probably about a month for me to come up with a new character, a new design, things like that, and then to move forward in Final Fantasy XIV. And then we've now got to talk a little bit about when I started Final Fantasy XIV, because this is all kind of boiling into the same uh, 4, 5, 6 years of me just being completely out of my mind. So when I first started Final Fantasy XIV, I started it with 3 friends. We had a lot of big ideas that we wanted to work with, and for a very long time, we were fairly well known on the servers that we were on, which is why I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to get into that anymore. We started up a free company that caught on pretty quick. We grew real fast. Like, we were in need of more people to do more things the moment that we like started getting into some of the heavier content. But back to like the original 4. Our main concept was those 4 people that started it were going to be leaders of their own little group inside. So you had myself. I was very heavy into like leveling up and going through the main story quest and stuff like that. We had another member who was very dedicated to watching the market boards and trying to make money. We had another who was very, very dedicated to anything crafting and gathering. And then we had another one, so that's be the 4th one, who was just an all round, they just wanted to experience everything. Well, as we started to grow, our ideas and our concepts had to start kind of changing. Uh, None of us had ever really had interest in like the raiding scene in Final Fantasy XIV, and we had made it a bit of a point when we were first going through everything to try and remember the humble beginnings, because it's very easy when you start getting into like raids and stuff to forget that. I mean, people just start out. Some people don't understand all of the mechanics. Some people don't understand rotations for their skills and stuff like that. And it was in all four of our minds at the beginning to remember that people start somewhere and not to like put them down for that crap. Well, as we got more and more people got into the interests of raiding, we did start to see that fall off of people starting to put others down because they're not the best raiders. They don't have the best gear. They don't have this. They don't have that. They don't. And eventually I said, I'm done. I'm stepping down. I cannot be in charge of something like this if this is the properties and morals that we're going to push. I had to complain multiple times when we were putting down our own people. Our own members were not getting treated fairly because they just they didn't know as much, or they didn't have the best this, that, or the other. And then we had members who had started everything who were getting preferential treatment when it came to things like loot drops. Uh, and I couldn't continue going along with any of that. After a certain point, uh, the two stories there kind of mix. We got into we were just finishing A Realm Reborn, going into the patch quests when my ex and I split, and it took, like I said, about a month for me to make up the new character, to decide what I wanted to do with that. Stormblood had just it hadn't just come out, but it was the newest expansion at the time, and it had the Al Ra race, which is where a lot of my character comes from, or started from. It's gone through a lot of changes now. But after that, I ended up getting a job multiple states away. As I mentioned, with my son, I was gone out of the state for almost a year, 2 years. I was out moving houses. We'd pick them up, put them on a flatbed truck, and move them to somewhere else. It was an interesting process. It was a very fulfilling job, but it did leave me alienated from my son. It left me alienated from my friends. I never had the time to get on and play anymore ever. And then I had to come back. I'm not going to get into that one because it does paint a very, very dark picture for certain other people that are in the story, and I'm not going to do that. Uh, so when I came back, I had no job. I was living out of the apartment that my ex and I had shared, that after I had left, she shared with the new boyfriend, and it was a very, very bad time for me. I sunk into uh, Final Fantasy XIV a lot. Uh, didn't ever really have the money to do anything with it. I was working temp for the place that I'm working at now, but I was spending money that I didn't have. And one of my big regrets, I've talked about the cash shop in Final Fantasy XIV, and I've talked about having regrets there. When I came back from out of state and was actually able to dedicate some time to it, all of my friends, three-fourths of the free company, they were all in Stormblood. And I decided, because they would complain all the time about needing more people to do these dungeons, to do these trials, to do these raids, that I was going to buy a story skip, which made it to where I missed out on all of Heavensward. So as we move forward with the streams that we're doing, I'm going to be paying a lot of special attention to Heavensward because I never got to experience it. Now, even when I was doing that, they were all telling me that I shouldn't do it. I should go through and experience everything. And at this point, I agree. At that point, I was less worried about the story of Final Fantasy XIV, less about the mechanics of it, and more about somebody needs me. And that was a big thing for me at the time. Somebody needed me to be there. Somebody needed my presence. It made me feel good. And then a lot of things happened. Everything started to go downhill. That's when the FC started to get into the raids more often. People started putting others down, and I had to step down. At this point, we've kind of mixed everything in together. Um, we're mostly caught up. At a certain point, I just couldn't deal with the free company anymore. So I ended up leaving the free company. I started playing more with another friend that I had made elsewhere. And then I started to find out that the friends that I had been making at the time were not the greatest people. One of the main four that we had started up the game with, that we had started up the free company with, we found out they were very much a sociopath. Uh, I ended up pulling away from that group of friends. Um, I got in with another group of friends, which I felt like I was just a filler to replace another person that they had lost recently. And then the friend that I had started playing with on the side and I had a falling out over something very, very stupid. Um, it just got to be too much for me. And I had one of those fight or flight responses, and my brain said, no, we're done. I'm not dealing with this anymore. I can't associate with this game anymore. I can't associate with these people anymore. I have to cut my losses and run. And that's what I did. I uninstalled it from my PlayStation 4 because that's where I was playing it from. I deleted the character. I got rid of everything associated to those friends, to that FC, to everything. And let me be very, very frank. I do not hold a grudge against any of them. They developed in a way that was good for them. And even if that wasn't good for me, it doesn't mean that they were wrong. I had to leave it because it just bad on top of bad on top of bad on top of bad. And the entire game of Final Fantasy XIV just bogged on my mind. Every time that I looked at it, every time that I even thought about it, my brain would just start to ache. And that's why many years later, I started up a whole new account. One that was not tied to those emotions, one that was not tied to those people, one that did not have the memories of, yeah, one that it just wasn't tied to all of that. And that is why I have a new account. That's why I've started over, even though I was at in game content at the time of deleting that account. It was better for my brain. And now we're here. And yes, it is still hard for me to go back through all of this, but I'm a lot more mature now. I have learned how to cope with a lot of this a lot better, and I don't feel trapped by any of it anymore. I have met some amazing people over this last year, Echo being one of them. Uh, I met Echo through a whole different bunch of groups. Um, we have Savannah, who is pretty much the one who has been right there with me from the very beginning. Before I actually decided to start doing streaming, Savannah was the one who knew that I was planning on doing it. Echo is somebody that I met through Savannah. You may be an ordinary being, but that doesn't mean that you're not a special one. You don't have to be extraordinary in order to make an impact on somebody's life. um, every so often, you guys will see Silly Snowfox, or as I call her, Kira. She'll pop in every now and then. That's another person that I've met through Savannah and through Prismalin and Kia Wolf. We do some gameplay together. We're trying to get things set up for collaborations. It's just not been working time frame wise. And now we've met the crew that I keep talking about. Masana. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Um, Masana, Epic Morgana, Jay Gersendai, and Sarah. There are a couple more. Robin the Rogue is part of that group that I haven't played with yet. Judge Zect, we played the other day. I believe it was yesterday. I don't think we actually got to play together. Yeah, I'm eventually gonna go back to Warframe. It's just when I was at the point that you were coming into Warframe, I was in content that I wasn't really enjoying. I had made it to the end of the game, and that's all that I cared about at that time. I need to go back in. I need to do extra in it, and eventually I will. But for now, Final Fantasy XIV is the game that's kind of keeping me centered. It's where I'm meeting a lot of new people. It's how people are now starting to see me and remember me from my streams. So we'll stick with that. We will drift into Warframe, maybe not soon, but in the future. I do want to get back into it. My water was on the other side. I will be honest, I thought that all of that was going to take a little bit longer. I wasn't expecting it to get done in half an hour. Yeah, that's part of the big problem with Warframe is pretty much anything that you can do to get progress, you have to do alone. Pretty much all of your story quests are solo missions, and I know that that was an issue for Cassidy, but yeah, I think that if you enjoy the game, it's worth doing those missions, worth learning what you need to learn, and expanding into the extra stuff. And I think the big thing about it is don't let yourself get burnt out. Take breaks if you need to, because there's a lot of stuff to do in Warframe, in Final Fantasy XIV. If you're playing Elder Scrolls Online, there's a lot to do there. Any MMO is going to have a lot of things that you're going to have to do. Don't let yourself get burned out. Do what you want, when you want, and don't let other people tell you to go faster. Don't let other people tell you what is more optimal. Play the game the way you want to play it. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to talk about now because this whole thing was what I was planning on for the whole 2 hours, and we're already caught up and done with it. Uh, I did my best to not like put anybody's names into it, so I'm hoping that's enough of a explanation of who I am behind Kaizen. Talk about my hopes and dreams for the future and what I plan to do in the streams ahead. Um, right now, uh, there's not a whole lot of hopes and dreams. The streaming for me is a hobby. It's fun to do. It gives me something to focus on that isn't work, that isn't cleaning, that isn't uh, just my day to day life. It's a good distraction, and if I can eventually get to a point where like I could do this as a full time job, I think I would want to like go back into college and start learning how to do like better recordings and stuff like that. Because the way that I've got it set up is not optimal. It's not it's not really fancy. I think that the model is amazing. I love the model. It's got so many neat things to it and things that are fun. Like uh, you might not have been around when we found this out, but we can make the model squish. And then I found out that my lower lip actually extends lower than my chin. If I look off to the side and do the squish, you can see the lip is way below the chin. So lots of fun things there. Oh, I guess I can go ahead and show this off. You guys have already seen the oh, looks like it froze. There we go. The horns and the scales. That's fun. And then the more human mode. But you have not seen the eye change, which I think is just the coolest transition ever. Do I have wings? Actually, no. Uh, Kaizen as a character does not have wings because they were ripped out. He's actually got two chunks of scales missing from his back where the wings originally were. I can't show the reference sheet here because I do not have the commercial streaming rights for the reference sheet, but I'll show you on Discord later. But yeah, Kaizen's got scars all over. The wings are just like the biggest thing that's happened to him in the past. Yeah, you probably have. I know that I shared it on our big group many, many months ago, before the model was actually completed. But yeah, back to hopes and dreams. Um, eventually, maybe, possibly doing this full time, doing more than 2 to 3 hour streams. Um, but yeah, no. Let me go back here and go back to human. There we go. Um, eventually, maybe it would be nice to be able to do this full time, but in order for it to even come close to my current job, I even if I get affiliate and get the 50-50 split, I would need to make what is it? $1,600 a week, and I really don't see that happening. Because then they'll take half of it. That's 800. That's about what I make in a week. So, yeah. Um, Currently, I am working on a couple of different projects. There, we're still writing the story of Kaizen's world, the characters in it. Um, on the side of that, I am kind of, but not 100% working on VTube models for the other main characters in his story. I can't show a whole bunch of them, but I can show off a few. Hold on, let me make a new scene. Hold on, hold on. I want to. Why is it not? How do copy? Okay. Hold on. Okay, how about now? There we go. That's a little bit better. So you couldn't hear anything I was saying about the characters. Dang it. Okay. So these two are supposed to be twin sisters. Their skin color is a little bit different, but we did that to kind of show differences in their personality. If you look in my info section and scroll down, you'll see that I have a section for artists. And if you click on those pictures, it'll take you to their last known commission section. The one who did both Gloria and Gracie is Mars, and I think they're called Them's Biscuits on the bottom. I need to actually look it up. I do need to update Jazzy Blues. Go to channel, mute. Yes, the very first, okay, not the very first, the very second one there, Mars Art is the one who did Gloria, Gracie, and this one I'm about to show you, which is not a um, not a character. Yep, them's biscuits. And that's where that if you put the at in front of it, that's their Twitch. They made these special little things. They're called jellyflies, and they are a creature that's in Kaizen's world. Love the way it came out. And we've talked about Classy Pug. She should be the second one in the info tabs below. There's also Jazzy Blue, who did the background here, the blue desert scene and the orange desert scene, and also did work on a character that I can't show. Yeah, I can't show them because TOS. Uh, let's see, what other characters can I show off? Oh, I can go ahead and show you guys Varys. Varys was made by Nick, my guy, who is, again, in my info tab. Varys is one of the few human characters that I have made currently. Along with his sister, Tina, who is sickly throughout most of the story. And yeah. So some of this is going to be showing parts of the story that I have not talked about to a lot of people. They made this image for a character named Sabra. Willow, which I think turned out really nice. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Cilicia. She is another very important character, again, who I have not talked much about. In fact, I don't think I've talked about most of these characters. Which one? Oh, Willow? Yeah. And then we have. I gotta find the right one. There it is. And we've got Clary. Clary is a very important character to me personally, and to the story as well. I'm not going to go into details of why currently, because I do want to have some story bits that are secret, that are not waiting for the person reading it to be like, oh, hey, I know what this is. So yeah, we're going to kind of skip through this now. Let's see, do I have any others that I can share? No, 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 no. Uh, I believe that is all for now. we're going to go here again, and we're going to, nope, that's not what I wanted. Remove. Yes. There we go. Yeah, well, I mean, all of the characters that I just showed play an important role. It's just that Clary plays a bit more of an important role, along with the other character that I cannot show on here. Let's see. Uh, I might actually go ahead and I don't think there's a lot more for me to talk about right now. And I do need to get some things done around the house. So I think that this is all that we're going to do for stream today. The main thing was to get that bit of my personal story out so that that's understood, that's known, and it doesn't come back and hit somebody in the face later. Um, Things are, as I said, a lot better now. My life is really starting to look up. I'm meeting a lot of good people. My life with my son is getting a lot better. Uh, Things with the ex are still so, but that's not important. Uh, and yeah, I, all of the artists that are in my info section underneath are wonderful people. If you are able to, you should definitely go check them out, follow them. If you have the ability to do so, ask them for a commission. I like to give them as much work as I can, but unfortunately, I'm not made out of money. I can't keep them all employed all at the same time. And some of them do have a bit of a rough home life that yeah. Uh he's definitely starting to warm up to me now. And like I said, he's got autism, so that amount of time that I was gone was very hard to get over because at that point he doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know. So, yeah. But yeah, the artists underneath are all very important to me. They do amazing work as you've seen. Uh yeah, you've seen something from each and every one of the artists that are underneath. Jazzy did the background that's behind me. Classy Pug did the model, the logo. Um, Nick did all of the human characters, and Jazzy did, or not Jazzy, sorry, Them's Biscuits did the more monster creatures. And they've done more personal works for me as well, and they're all good friends. Definitely made the channel better. Yeah. I love the first big part for um, when I was first starting to stream. The first big thing that got done was the background. I love the background, and I, yeah, they just it blows my mind how all of this behind me. And let me move myself a little bit so that you can actually get the whole picture here. I'm not going to cover up her thing there. It's just a lovely sprawl. Let me bring myself up enough so that you can see my eyeballs. Yeah, it's amazing. It's it's hard to believe that this was the start of my streaming. This was the first thing that really came through. I did have the PNG tuber. Uh, I could probably pull that up real quick. Hold on. Let me add because yeah, the Where's image? The PNG tuber model was the very first thing that like I was able to use. Where are you? There you are. And you'll still see this in okay. I guess I'm not going to have my face on it yet. Uh, this was the start of it. This and a closed mouth version, which were done by an artist named Leekry, who I unfortunately don't have contact with anymore. This was something that was paid for in full. I have the commercial rights to it and everything. Everything you see here, I have commercial rights to, but I'm still trying to keep very close with the artists who did them. I'm just not sure what happened with Leekry. Just kind of went poof one day. But you'll still see this on other people's streams. When I'm streaming with Masana, they'll use this as the PNG for when I'm talking, which was usually still be very, very quiet, not really talking much. Ah, I forgot to mute. I forgot to mute. Hold on. Do not disturb. But yeah, no. All of this is stuff that like 2, 3, 4 years ago, I never would have imagined myself actually being able to do any of this. It's something that I decided I was going to go for the deep end and decided to do it not a full year ago. I first started my streams again on not May, June, July, one of those two. And that was with the PNG tuber image. And we've just been going on from there. I did take a bit of a break while the model was being made, but it's all been very good for my mental health. And it's just if anybody out there is thinking about maybe doing this, go for it. You don't have to start with something big and flashy. Start with something small. The, if you want to do the VTubing, PNG Tube is a fantastic way to start, and it'll give you time to learn while you're getting the money for the model, while you're getting used to everything else. Once you get the model, it's all going to be learning how to maneuver the model and just all that fun stuff. So, may as well learn the other stuff that's kind of harder. Uh, it took me forever to set up anything like Stream Elements or anything like that because I was not in the mind space for it. I was very, very lazy and said, that's something I can do tomorrow. That's a tomorrow problem. But I have rambled for at the least 20 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and get off. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And yeah, tomorrow should be Final Fantasy 14. We're going to be working on not Ifrit, Titan. We're going to be working on Titan. And we're at the point now where we're just kind of rushing towards the end of the game. We've got one more. Yeah, you have a good one too. We've got Titan coming up. We've got another Primal to fight. I'm not going to say the name because some people are not big on spoilers. There's a couple more dungeons to do, and then we're at the level 50 stuff. Off screen, I have been collecting up my job quest stuff. I have most of my armor now, and yeah, that's going to be fun to see here in a bit. I'm pretty sure that it'll be tomorrow. Um, yeah, I things have been looking up at work, so I'm pretty sure that tomorrow I'll have more than enough energy to go ahead and do my normal time stream. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.